a nice gathering and fellowship. I pray that the Lord continue to sustain and uphold us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Tonight is basically the health-related program. It's just a way of reminding each and every one of us of the basic things that we know, and just to also encourage us on how to always remember that our health is as equally important as the ministry that the Lord has given unto us. And when it comes to health-related topics, it might be quite challenging. Don't let me say challenging. It might be quite difficult to keep fit, to abide through. But um, it's just by the grace of God. I pray that the Lord will help us just to continuously sustain this practice as in order to help us maintain good health. Because the main reason, the only reason why we still have the strength to do what the Lord has mandated us to do is because our body is still in good health. And one of the topics that we're discussing tonight is an important one. And as we talk or as we discuss and about this topic, I know that we'll be able to learn one or two things which would help us in our daily activities. So tonight, the health unit of family altar, which comprises of myself, Mrs. Table and Mrs. Omotayo, and hopefully we get more members as we go on. We've come up with a topic titled Healthy Diet and Nutrition at Home. As it may look, as we've heard it might look like something trivial, but I would say that things that are trivial are the things that we take for granted, and those are the things that we neglect, and those are the things that come back to backfire. But when we keep them in mind, no matter how little or how trivial we think those things are, we need to equally treat them as important as every other thing. So, like I said earlier, is healthy diet and nutrition in the home. If I ask any one of us to describe what a balanced diet is, obviously, majority or everybody would know what a balanced diet is. But just like definition, a food that comprises all classes of food. But the most important part is not just comprising of the 6 classes of food, but in the right proportion. If they are not in the right proportion, it is as equal as we not taking the important things that we are supposed to take into our body. So food is not just about the quantity of what we are eating or the type of what we are eating. We can keep eating one class of food thinking that we are doing the right thing. But if it doesn't comprise all the classes of food in their required proportion, we are obviously missing it in one way or the other. So healthy diet should be everybody's way of life. In fact, some people believe that eating healthy is for certain people or is for some category of people. Some people believe that food is just about being belly full, if there's an English like that, or is about not going hungry. But it's more to that. There's more to eating than just taking something in. So it should be everybody's way of life, because whatever we eat reflects on our body. And this body is the only thing that makes us function well on earth. If the body decides not to function well, obviously every other thing will definitely not function well. I know that everybody can testify that when we come down with one illness or the other, it is as if something should just take the soul out of the body, because the body at that particular period of time will not be able to do what is expected of it to do. And by definition, healthy diet and nutrition is eating a variety of food that gives the body the nutrients that it needs to feel good, function well, and stay strong. So, like I said, eating things that will make us feel good, to make us function well, and as well to stay strong. And also, majority also believe that health diet and nutrition is expensive. They feel like you would have to have thousands of naira or thousands of dollars or pounds before we can have an healthy plate of food. Meanwhile, it is the other way around. In fact, healthy diet is more affordable than not eating healthy. We could take, for example, having to cook at home or having to eat out in a fast food restaurant or having to eat a processed food. If you break down the cost, having to cook at home is way more cheap, is way more affordable than having to eat out. Although there are some times that all these things are inevitable, probably due to stress, time constraint, and every other thing, but it should not be our way of life. It should not be our way of life. It should not be our everyday to day activity. So under health, we've got preventive health, we've got curative health. So healthy diet and nutrition boils down to having a preventive health, because I would say if we take a good diet, if we eat accordingly, if we take in good diet and nutrition, I would say there are so many things that we're already closing door against. I mean, the negative side, talk of illness, talk of diseases, talk of infection, talk of so many other things. But when we have food, when we have good diets, or when we take in good diet, we are basically preventing other things that would have caused us discomfort or that would have caused illnesses in our body. So healthy diet and nutrition falls under the preventive health rather than the curative one. I would even say when we come down with illness and we have to go for the curative parts, in as much as the medication or every other medical treatment that's been given to us, food is as important as them as well, because I don't know if obviously some of would have had headache, malaria, or thereabout or anything. If we take medication and we don't eat, they would definitely tell us that those medication might not be as effective as we expect them to be, because we are not eating good food, at least to boost the effect of those medication. So how do we tips to have a good healthy diet? There are some things that we need to put into consideration in order to have a healthy diet or nutrition. The first thing on my list is to have a portion control. Like I have said earlier, food is not just about the quantity, it's about the quality of what we are eating. You might have all the classes of food in a plate, but their proportion is not in the right one. Like if you have a food circle now, they expected that half of your food plate should comprise of vegetables, while the remaining half divided by 2 should be carbohydrate, and then the other half should be protein. But sometimes we have a plate of food. Some will have like a bowl of rice, and then just a minute quantity of meat, and then stew in which pepper is classified doesn't have nutrients. And some people even take pepper in excess. That's like, if it is not extra spicy, they can't eat it. And whereas pepper does not have, I don't think pepper has any nutrient that it gives to the body. So when we portion our food, it has to be in the right proportion. It is believed that when we take swallow, it should be the size of our fist or the size of a tennis ball. And then more of vegetables that we are using to complement the swallow, and then protein, and not just having a bolus of swallow and then small quantity of stew or small quantity of protein. I know it's not as easy as what we are saying, probably due to economy or availability. But when we try to do these things, it's just for our own benefit. Some people believe that, how will I take a feast of a bar as a grown-up individual and expect me to get filled up? But what I'm saying is, if we have a feast of a swallow, or a feast portion of a swallow, and we have more vegetables, by the time we take the swallow, we take the vegetable or the soup that is apportioned to it. I must say, by the time you take all that, take our water, we are filled up already, than having a heap of swallow and then minute quantity of every other thing. Or also, when we are making our food, we have some people believe that if oil is not flowing on top of the stew, it is not well cooked. Or some people don't have this habit of over seasoning their food, because they believe that maybe seasoning make food sweeter or stuff like that. Those are not healthy enough, and it doesn't make us keep healthy food. So when we are portioning our food, we should make sure that the quantity of what we are eating is in equal proportion, not that one is bigger than the other or one is lacking. We want to make sure that we combine all the classes of food, but we should make sure that the portion or the quantity of what we are eating is in order. Another point is that we should have a meal plan. One of the things that makes our diet unhealthy is because we make food impromptu, and that does not give us enough time to plan what we are eating. If, for instance, we have like a meal timetable, it might not be for a month, it might be just for a week. If we've planned what we want to cook for that week, it makes us have a good preparation of what we want to do, and so we are not caught unaware, and we don't end up eating what we don't want to eat. If we have already planned what we are eating, it gives us time. It even saves costs. It saves stress of having to cook almost all the time or having to cook all day. We can, if we make a proper plan, we can batch cook, we can bulk cook, as long as we have a good storage system, and the food still stays fresh, and we are able to eat healthy, rather than having to just go for what we can see at that time. We have food readily available for us. Sometimes we might have to like stay late at work, or sometimes our appetite might change, or sometimes we might not be buoyant enough to cook at that particular period of time. It would, but when we already make a plan, as in there's an idea that says, he who fails to plan plans to fail. But when we have already made a plan already, it would help us to know what we are doing, what we are eating, and it will help us to control what we want to take in at that particular period of time. I want to believe that everybody is with me. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. Me too, ma.
Thank you. And also, another thing to make us stay healthy is to have a recipe folder. What I mean by that is, thank God for now, we have so many content creators, I would say, food content creators online. So we can easily, when we scroll through our social media, we have so many people that comes up with fantastic recipes. So when we see those type of recipes, we can create like a folder I could give myself an example. I remember when we were coming to the UK, I already foresee that some of the things that we eat in Nigeria, we might not have access to them right here. So I've been trying to, like, if I see a recipe, especially those that are not the usual, I created a WhatsApp group for myself and my husband. And I keep saving those recipes there. Although my husband will be like, all this food I are saving, when are we going to eat them? And one day, if we are bored of what we used to eat, I'll just like scroll through and then see one and then try it. If it doesn't work today, it will work tomorrow. So we should have like a recipe folder. At least that would even enlighten us to different type of food, whether intercontinental, whether the local ones. Even there are some local food now that the way they have modernized it, it makes it look enticing, makes it looks easier to cook. All the food that we think that they are like almighty, when we hear them, be like, how can I cook this? Especially foods from other tribes, other people. So they've made those foods like easier for us to try. So when we have like a recipe folder, healthy recipe folder, that would help us also to plan our meal properly. Another point is we should always go for alternative. We should not be stereotyped to a particular thing, especially when they are not available. Now, eggplants, for example, eggplants and garden egg are equally the same. They give the same nutrients. So you can't say, oh, the recipe I want to make sure that I'm eating eggplant, whereas it's not readily available or it's limited to some places. Whereas you have garden egg, you can substitute garden egg for eggplants. You should not be like, if I don't see rice, I'm not eating. There's couscous. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's like it's a northern food like that. It's also carbohydrates in nature. We can eat it. When I got here, there's this particular, I don't know what it's called. You can substitute it for beans here. They use it to do akara. I've forgotten what it's called here, but when I got here, it was when I saw it, I felt like, what is this? But when you taste it, it tastes so well, and it's equally as nutritious as the usual food stuffs that we know. So let's go for alternatives. Let's not be stereotyped to rice, beans, gari, yam. Instead of yam, you can do cocoyam, you can do potato, you can do sweet, whether sweet or Irish potato, we can do that as well. But I don't know. Some people are like very afraid, or very like some people are afraid to like try new things. Be like, it won't come out well. But I want to say that when, just like I said earlier, if you have a recipe folder, it opens our eyes to how we can maneuver those type of food and make them nutrition and make them fascinating and equally getting the same nutrients that we're supposed to get from our usual ones. Like in some countries, they don't have strawberries. So you can't say because you don't have strawberries, I cannot eat food. Whereas in some, you have agbalumo, is in season. You have mangoes. You have so many other things that you can eat to supplement, and it will give you our equal nutrients. So let's learn how to go for other alternative, and also diversity. The food they eat in the Hausa tribe is quite different from the one they eat in Yoruba. And that is an advantage to us. Let's try other tribes, food from other tribes as well. They are quite good and nutritious as well. And it's even, it helps us from being bored of one type of food that we keep eating. Let's say we try Hausa food from the Hausa tribe. We have their kunu, which is quite good. We have their fura de nono. We have their masa. We have so many other food types that is from the Hausa tribe, or is it from the Igbo ones? Their vegetables, they are quite good when it comes to vegetables. They have this, their idikaikon, we have this, their afang, they have their banga, and so many other tribe as well. Even if it's not from the Nigerian tribes, it could be from the Indian, it could be from the Pakistani, even from these British people. They also have their fine good foods as well that they also eat, and is quite okay. So let's try to be diverse, because one thing that also that encourage or that discourages people from eating healthy is when they get tired of eating the same food over and over again. I'm sure everybody's tired of eating rice. We know rice is just rice. Beans is just beans. But when we try, let's just set a goal for ourselves that maybe this week I'm not eating Yoruba food. I'm trying Igbo delicacy, or I'm trying Hausa delicacy. Or we can go to other countries, say Ghanaian, they have this, their 1K, they have this Donkuno, it tastes really good. It tastes really, really good. And from other tribes as well, from Zambia, when we see those type of food, when we try them, we bring them into our culture and we prepare them so well, they'll make us eat healthy as well. So another thing that I'm going to say is we should be creative when it comes to cooking. This is basically for our moms, because we know that mothers are the ones that does most of the cooking. I'm not exempting our daddies as well, but we should learn to be creative when it comes to cook food. Let's say, for example, rice. We are cooking rice. Let it not just be white rice, maybe all the time, or commonly we know we eat jollof rice all the time. We could cook 1K, like 1K now, it's rice as well, but they had a particular type of leaf that make it have its own color. Rice, we can turn it to tuwo, and we can pair it with ewedu or gbegiri. That is a good diet. We can take yam. It could be yam porridge. It could be yamarita. It could be pounded yam. It could be yam and beans. If we take beans as well, it could be beans porridge. It could be akara. It could be moi moi. It could be rice, it could be rice and beans. Like all those type of. Let's be creative. Even when we make stew, let's say we make stew for the week. When we eat our stew, we eat it with rice or we eat it with swallow. The next time we could add vegetable into that same stew, sprinkle maybe scent leaf or bitter leaf or ugu, add it to it, spice it up a little. It's something, it's creative. In fact, when we serve it, will be like, is this the same stew? It will give it another kind of taste, coming out with another type of another nutrient that is equally important to the body. So let's be creative, and it even makes eating fascinating. Even creativity when it comes to plating as well. When we plate the food so well, one of those things that entice us to food online is how it is being plated. When we plate food properly, even as children that are always quite picky when it comes to food, they would want to love it. Maybe when we make pancakes, we make them in a dinosaur shape, or we make them in alphabet, stuff like that. They would be so happy to want to eat it. Or when we plate their rice, maybe we molded it in a form of like a circle or a triangle. They'll be fascinated to eat those type of things. And those would make us like eat properly instead of them settling for junks or settling for processed food. And I pray the Lord will help us in Jesus' name.
Yeah.
Another thing I'll be saying is we should buy seasonal food and fruits. People from those that stay in, I said people, pardon me. In Nigeria right now, we are in this side of the world, we are quite at a disadvantage because obviously there's no really seasonal food here. But I know far back in Nigeria, we know some food that are specific to a season. And when we buy seasonal food like that, maybe let's say there are some times that yam is more. We have yam is quite cheaper at that time. When we buy them in bulk, as God provides for us, we are able to plan our meal towards that food item. Or let's say there's some that like cocoyam is always in surplus. Tomatoes are always in surplus. There are some fruits like mango, they're seasonal. Like now, I know that agbalumo is in season now. When we eat agbalumo, let's not say why agbalumo is fruit. It will obviously give us the same vitamins. I know eating sometimes when we eat the same thing over and over again, we get tired. But nevertheless, we are trying to get the same nutrients, especially when it comes to fruit. We can't eat too much of it. Although sometimes when we eat too much of everything is not good. But when they are in season, let's make use of them. Let's take advantage of them. Mango is in season. We can take mango. For mango now has been diversified. We say mango chips. You see people selling mango chips now. Mango juice. mango fruit. So you can let's make sure that we buy seasonal, at least it saves us cost, and we are able to make use of them while they are still available. Because when we have more than enough, we could buy them, process them, store them when we have good storage system, and we are able to use them afterwards when they are no more available. And also another thing I would say is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is a way whereby you would eat like a bulk meal, maybe like twice a day, or eat a bulk meal for maybe like once a day, and then you supplement with other things all through the day. We know that when we are eating, maybe when we are doing intermittent fasting, you know that I'm having a whole meal. So that meal will be properly planned, and we'll know that we'll channel our energy into making sure that that meal comes out well. And every other thing that we are eating after is just addition, and we are getting the same nutrient as we are supposed to get. And the last thing I would say about tips of eating healthy is we should reprocess our leftovers. When we have leftovers, especially when it comes to like stews, vegetables, I would say sometimes when we overcook, sometimes it happens that when the portion that we prepared for is more than what we expected, let's not just throw them or let them lie fallow somewhere. We can keep them, store them properly, and then reprocess them, so that days that maybe we are stressed, or days that we don't think of or we don't know what to eat, by the time we open our fridge or we open other storage system that we use, we're able to add one thing or the other together, and we come up with a good meal instead of settling for the unhealthy ones. If you open your fridge, maybe we have a leftover rice, maybe leftover white rice. We could turn it to a Chinese rice, add egg, add all these vegetables, and it will come out well. Or maybe when we have stew, we can turn it to jollof rice. We can make it used for jollof rice. Or when we have vegetables, can equally get swallowed to eat instead of them laying fallow, and then later we have to like dispose them because they are already spoiled or something like that. So when we have leftover, let's reprocess them. But it's always down to when we store them properly. When they are properly stored, we are able to reprocess them, and then we get the required nutrients that we're supposed to get. Is everybody with me? Praise the Lord. So one other thing that I'm going to talk about is the importance of eating healthy. It's what everybody knows. When we eat healthy, obviously the one thing that we are all familiar with is eating healthy. We are able to boost our immune system, and this immune system helps us to fight the unwanted diseases that we don't want. When we eat, food is, as like I said earlier, food is like a preventive health. When we eat well, we eat good, we make sure that we are mindful of what we put in our food. Say when it comes to condiments, when it comes to salt, I would say some people so much like salt that if it is not in excess, they won't eat. Or the quantity of seasoning that some put in their food is quite on the high side, and all this thing, it takes the body, it can be quite stressful for the body to process them. And when it is quite stressful for the body to process them, there's something we call wear and tear. The body will get tired of doing such, and that is what leads to illness. So food helps us to boost our immune system, and this is what food should be doing, and not the other way around. So when we eat well, we boost our immune system, and sickness is obviously far away when our immune system is readily available to fight anything that is coming our way. At least the first mode of attack is readily available to fight any antibody that is, or any disease or anything that is mostly infection, especially in children. We want to build their immune system that, they are prone to all these viral diseases, say cough, flu, and they are prone to rashes because of them mingling with other children. But when their immunity is quite strong, even when they come in contact with those things, their body is resistant to it instead of them easily trapping all those things. Even as adults as well, when we eat well, our immune is good and help us fight against all the diseases that we don't want. Obviously, when we eat, food gives us energy. So our energy is restored when we eat well. If you would say, if I don't know if any people can testify to it, when we eat out, it is at that point that when we finish eating, we get filled up. By the time we stand up, drive home, by the time we get home, be like, have I even eaten today? I don't know what used to happen. I don't know. But I don't know what used to happen, that is always the case. But I want to be that when we eat at home, maybe because of the way it is being processed or what we are eating or the type of food that we are eating, we still get energized. We are equally we are energized. We are able to keep the energy flowing all through the day, even when we don't eat much. In fact, sometimes when we eat just one, we are good to go for all through the day, especially for people that don't eat much. They are fine with just a meal in a day, rather than just eating out without knowing how it's being processed or what is being used or what is used to process them. And when we get home, we get exhausted, maybe because our body takes the body more energy to process those food, and then the little energy that we have is being used to process the food that we are taking in. So food is needed for vitality. Food is needed for energy. Also, for better mental health and brain function, food is also as important as that. And the only way we can get that is when we eat healthy. We can't keep eating what is not too good for the body and we expect the body to function well. That might not be possible. Weight management, food help us to maintain our weight. We would see some people that they are on a weight loss journey, and the only thing that helps them is controlling their diet. And that is because they have control over what they are putting in their food, the amount of oil, the amount of mineral salt, the amount of carbohydrates that they are taking in, more of protein. They are able to put those portions in the right place, and it's helping them lose their weight. Whereas it's not even something that is new. People that keeps consuming junks, they keep getting excess weight. They're not able to keep up with their weight just because of what they're taking. And this same food that is being that they buy outside, I would say, for instance, say maybe burger or pizza or something like that, we can equally prepare them at home, but we are able to regulate what is being used. Say maybe the sugar we had, or maybe the salt we had, or maybe the type of toppings that is being had on it. We can equally we can substitute all those say hot dog, say all this every other things that they had. We can substitute them with vegetables, say like carrots, we can mushrooms, stuff like that. We are able to control them ourselves, and that is why eating at home, eating healthy, is important. Also, it improves our digestive system. When we eat well, our digestion is good. Not that the body will take a long time to process them, causing us to be constipated sometimes, or causing us to have diarrhea. Sometimes we eat out and then we get home, we get constipated, or we start having loose jaw. But when our food is properly cooked by ourselves, or when we are able to keep track of what we are eating, we know how they are being done, especially the ones that we cook at home under a good hygienic system, when they are fully cooked, they are well processed, compared to the ones that we buy outside. We don't even know how they are being done. Sometimes you buy food outside, when you open it, it's either it's already smelling, looking like it is spoiled, or when you bite on the meat, they are hard and they are half done, especially red meat. Red meat shouldn't be half cooked, it should be fully cooked. I stand a chance to be corrected. But or sometimes the kind of pepper, we can bear witness that all these roadside food sellers, they go more for almost spoiled pepper than buying the fresh ones. And those are the things that they process, give to people to eat. And then when people come home, they start having problem with digestion. And also, food enhance longevity. What we eat would, like I said earlier, what we take into our body, we reflect on how our body will function. Some have fall victim of diseases or illnesses due to what they've eaten, cutting their life short. But when we are able to plan our meal well, when we are able to eat in the normal, eat normally, we are able to avoid all those things. We are able to keep track of what we are eating and also help us to feed well. Even as children, we can't just keep giving our children, because number one, they are still young. They are trying to build their immunity now. So we can't. I know children, if they are given the whole, if they are given the privilege, they will prefer chicken. They will prefer all this sugary juice rather than the homemade one. But I have said earlier, creativity. By the time maybe our juice, we could do orange juice for them, make it in a popsicle-like form, or froze it, do smoothies, and make it enticing to them. It will keep their mind off all this processed food or all this processed sugary juice. So it all boils down to what we can do and how we can manage what we have at home. So as family, I would want us to keep in mind that as much as we look after our physical appearance, what we take in as well is equally important. And food is one of the important things that we take in. Even water is part of classes of food. So what we drink, what we eat, we should be able to we should be accountable for it, because it plays a major role in our whole functioning as a human being. And I know that these things, they are not easy. It's easier said than done. Sometimes we might be tired, sometimes financial constraint, sometimes availability as well. Those are the things that could prevent us from wanting to achieve all these things. But with persistence, with intentionality, when we are intentional about what we want to eat. So people are so intentional. It will look as if they have PCOS when it comes to food they eat. I envy such people, I must say. So people are so intentional when it comes to what they eat. But some of us, we have, me inclusive, we need grace to cultivate the habit of eating healthy, to cultivate the habit of being intentional with what we eat. And I pray that the Lord will help us in Jesus' name. At this junction, I'm going to pause to see if anyone has contributions, have questions about what we've discussed just now.